Hi, this is Maria Ployer from Advocates for Justice and Education. I'm here with our amazing parent support specialist, Tamisha Lawrence, and we're just here to chat a little bit about one of the big things that happened this week, which is OSSE rolled out a new program, a stipend program for families to self-transport. But before we get into all that, I'm going to let Tamisha introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Tamisha Lawrence, the Parent Support Specialist with AJE, and I support families in helping them to advocate for themselves and to be able to advocate for their children who have IEPs.
Perfect. Or who need IEPs, right?
Or who need IEPs initial.
Yes. Or who have a 504 or need a 504.
Yes.
Yes. So it's funny. People think that sometimes AJE only does special education, and that is definitely our favorite thing. But we also do school discipline, access to healthcare, lots of other stuff too. So we're a great group of folks to call if you've got questions. But one of the things we're talking about today is going to be this new program that OSSE has rolled out. So as most people who are listening to this are going to know, transportation for students with disabilities in the District of Columbia is administered by OSSE, the Office of the State Superintendent of Education, in the Department of Transportation. That's a big, long word, so we just say OSSE-DOT at our office. And OSSE-DOT has a new program that parents are welcome to apply to. Keyword there is apply. And it is a parent stipend of $400 if you are willing to self-transport your child to and from school. Self-transport your transportation eligible child to and from school. And we've been getting a lot of questions about that. So I figured we'd do a quick recording for families, to address any misconceptions. Tamisha, you want to share some of the things you've heard from folks?
Yes. So what I've run into so far is that some families think that because the stipend is being offered so aggressively, like they've received text messages, emails, even correspondences from their schools or LEAs in reference to this stipend, they are feeling like in the event of like missed transportation, delayed transportation, or any transportation concern specific on a specific day, that this would be a supplement for that. And that's not the case. It is not a supplement, right?
No, it is absolutely not a supplement. If you apply for this stipend and are accepted into the program, OSSE will no longer transport your child, and you will receive $400 a month, approximately. No, you'll receive $400 a month, period. It's not approximate, $400 a month to self-transport your child. So this is different from that missed the reimbursement process for like days when OSSE doesn't show up. This is different from that. This is a stipend program where you break up with OSSE-DOT and do all your transporting yourself. It's kind of like a voucher, actually might be a good way to think about it.
And you would be responsible for getting them to and from. What I've explained to parents, because I now have a better understanding of the program, is that it is either or. I've broken it down into terms of either or. It's either you're saying you trust and accept the type of transportation is going to provide, or you are going to do it yourself. And doing it yourself, I would encourage parents to calculate the transport, and calculate like what the distance would be. So, like for example, if your child goes to a non-public, I like for example, if you live in DC, but your child may go to school in Baltimore or Montgomery County or Virginia, then I would calculate an Uber service for that and see what that transport would be. Like for example, I have a quote of maybe $100 each way, going back and forth from Baltimore would be $100. So that's $200 in one day to transport a child to school. So for 5 days a week, that $400 would be gone in 2 days. So I wouldn't recommend that to a person who has a child that's transported at $100 a day, nor would I recommend it for someone who has $80 a day. Now, if your child has transportation and it probably might work out and they have about 25 and 22, $22 a day or something like that back and forth, I would recommend wholeheartedly that you possibly consider this stipend, because then you don't have to worry about the bus taking you all these hours to get back and forth home to, for 400, for less time.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right that families need to think about what makes sense to them from a money standpoint. And definitely understand it is an either or proposition. Now the good thing is that OSSE does say that you can come back, if you apply to the program and are accepted and then change your mind and feel like it's not working for you, you can come back to OSSE. But it is not an either or. It is an either or proposition, not, a supplement or a replacement for the reimbursement process. Are you hearing any other questions from families?
How soon would the fund be paid? Or some were aware that this was an application process, so they wanted to know when it would start. Like, I have a person who feels like they have completely already signed up for it, so it's a go. Like, what does this look like in terms of it being? Is this a situation that is a fact? Like, is this going to happen? Is this happening, or is this just a suggestive a survey opportunity?
So it's that's a good question. This is, well, let me be really transparent. OSSE's been talking about this for a long time, right? For a couple of years now. And this is the furthest I've ever seen the process get to, right? So I'm pretty sure that it will, it will happen. But you're absolutely right. It is an application program. And OSSE's website says that they'll notify families prior to April 1st.
Oh,
So,
okay.
And the deadline to apply has been extended. And we'll put the link in the chat from this conversation where you can see all the application, all the information. But the thing to know is the deadline's been extended to the 22nd, and OSSE will let you know by April 1st if you're selected to participate in the program. So just like you said, this is not a done deal yet. And there's a lot of required documents. It's not a simple thing.
Right.
Would you, I know most families have seen this already because this has come out in the communications, but I'm just going to really quickly screen share and let people know and kind of just remind people of what all this looks like. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Here we have the monthly parent stipend program announcement from OSSE. Again, we'll put the link for this in the chat, and it's got a pretty good Q&A with everything you might want to know. And I think it's really the phrase I always want families to remember and see is this opt-out part, right? Opt out of OSSE transportation. And they've got a pretty detailed program details PDF, and this is also on our website. Okay, if you ever have a hard time finding it, but like I said, it's all in the chat also. And then the required documents for the program, there's a lot. It's not super easy. You've got to do a W-2, a W-9, and you've got to complete this thing called a master supplier form. That's like for a DC government, you receive funding through there. And then you've got to give them your financial information about whether or not you want direct deposit or paper check. But you're absolutely right that just because you've applied, it doesn't mean that you're accepted, right? And it says prior to April 1st, OSSE will contact families. So I'm hoping that means that, that deadline will stick. But, I don't know for sure.
I guess I'm wondering whether or not it's a criteria for who will be accepted. Like, what would the criteria be for families to be accepted for this stipend? Like a family, like I did have a family to ask me, did they qualify? Like, if it's an application, do they qualify? So I was explaining to them that anybody can apply, but to them, the question was if they have to apply and get approved, then what is the criteria to get approved?
I don't know. I assume that, and this is an assumption, I want to be really clear, this is me assuming. I assume that the criterion is going to be, does this make financial sense for OSSE? Just like, the criteria families use to apply is, does this make financial sense for me to apply? Does this make logistical or financial sense for OSSE to accept the person into the application, into the program? But I don't know, and they haven't shared that. I'm not aware of any criteria. So that really was a guess from Maria. To be really clear about that.
Okay.
Guessing. But I don't know. I don't know what the criteria to be accepted into the program is.
Okay. So I will continue to just to encourage my families to to weigh out the calculations of what that would look like, what $400 a month would look like. Not like, look at how many days you have in each month. And regardless if you have 31 days in that month and you only go to school, they only go to school 20 days out of that month, are those 20 days going to cover, is $400 going to cover that 20 days to and from? And on half days, like, are you able, is that going to cover it, And so I would just encourage the calculations, or get someone to help you, to assist you into weighing your options. I would even be okay with my family's calling me and asking me, because I'll look at it for you to kind of see if it will work it out, because I know that some families do struggle with the ability to even to do that. And so I would love, I'm here to help. So just let me know.
Yeah, we'd be happy. Exactly. Tamisha's 100% right. We'd be happy to help anybody sit down and kind of work through that math and figure out if it makes sense for their life. And I do think, like any other voucher type program, you just got to figure out if it works for you and your family. And I do like to remind families that it is $400 a month. It is not up to $400 a month, or it is not at least $400 a month. It is neither of those things. It is $400 a month. So just kind of keep that in mind too. All right. So our big highlights are, oh, go ahead.
More family asked about multiple children in the family. So like, if multiple kids qualify for the stipend, would both family members get the $400 stipend?
That is a really good question. I don't know the answer to that either.
Okay.
Again, part of me is assuming that the answer to that is yes. I think every kid would and should. Oh, they have an answer to this. I just double checked. Can a parent guardian receive more than one stipend if they have multiple eligible students in the household? Do you know what the answer to that is? No. A parent guardian can opt to transport more than one student. However, only one stipend is allowable per household, even if there are multiple eligible students. This is why it's important to read the documents. I will show everybody where that is really quickly, so everybody knows. But the answer to that is no. Look at me doing that lawyer thing where we read the
You
document.
found that real fast too. Look, I'm glad.
I heard something about it. I was like,
Make it bigger, because I can't. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me.
I can do that, I think.
Yep.
Maybe. Do. Oh, there we go. There's a button. Okay. So we've got right here. Okay. So can you do parent reimbursement and the monthly stipend at the same time? No, it's one or the other, right? Can a parent guardian receive more than one stipend if they have multiple eligible children? No. Okay. So that's a big factor.
That is.
To really think about.
We have a family that has about 6 students that are transported via transportation. They all go to the same school, but even if they called an Uber, it would cost more. So
that is something to think about. Just
please call me if you have any questions. Please do not just agree to something that you are not fully certain of. I am 100% here to comb through with you to determine if this may be a best option. I can't make a decision for you. You ultimately have the final to say, but I would encourage you to seek assistance if you have
Mhm.
questions.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note, there are limits on this program. We haven't really talked about, all the, can you get removed from the program and all of that. But there are some downsides. So, there are some attendance requirements. They're kind of the same attendance requirements that you have otherwise. But really spend some time thinking about it and thinking about if it makes sense for you. Like I said, all this information is on our website already. We will put the link in the comments for this recording. And just remind everybody, and the applications are due next week, right? The end of the week.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that was it. Is there anything else we need to talk about with the stipend?
No, that last one about the multiple kids was like the one of the main ones that I had.
Awesome.
That's
All
all
right.
good.
Okay. So I think the takeaways are it's an either or. Read the whole thing. Think about it hard. Think about the finances in your life and for your family and if it makes sense for you.
Call if
Um,
you have questions.
yes, always call if you have questions, and hopefully we'll see some of you tomorrow at either one of the two events AJE's at. We're going to be at HSCSN doing a training, and we're also going to be at the library with the Office of the Student Advocate.
And we will
So
also place the links to those registrations in the comments as well.
I will absolutely do that.
Thank you, Lori.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Friday and enjoy. Okay.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.